Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. So I've seen quite a few news articles lately talking about confiscation in Illinois in regards to those people who registered their so-called assault weapons by the December 31st deadline. The government now has their name, their number, their personal identifying information, their FOID card numbers, serial numbers, basically everything they need in order to keep track of them. This has become such a big deal now that even the Washington Examiner recently put out an article on it. So we're going to talk about that today and what you should do if this actually happens. So let's get into it. This video is proud to be sponsored by Arrowhead Tactical Apparel. This is active wear for concealed carry. These guys make things for your EDC that you have been wanting but just have not been able to find. If you're looking for those sweats, those shorts, you're looking for those gym clothes, something that you can run in, something that you can work out in, but you still want to be able to carry your EDC, Arrowhead Tactical Apparel is absolutely the place that you need to check out. Now, I absolutely love the way that this works. So on the inside of the shorts, joggers, or sweats that you have, there will be an internal belt loop. These belt loops are extremely soft. You do not feel them against your body. And then you take one of the Arrowhead Tactical belts that are specifically designed for this, you run it through those internal belt loops, and it creates a nice rigid platform to be able to attach your EDC in your holster. Now on the outside, we still have the same drawstrings and the same elastic that's really comfortable, but it allows you to put extra pressure on that EDC to keep it nice and tight to your body, and it allows you to place it in multiple positions. So if you're interested in any of this EDC activewear, I will make sure to put a link in the description box as well as in the pinned comments, so definitely check that out. And again, I want to thank Arrowhead Tactical Apparel for sponsoring this video. Okay, so let's go and talk about what's going on here. So the Washington Examiner article really focuses on people's fear that if there's another mass incident in Illinois, the government might change their mind and decide to go back on that whole grandfather clause. So what I want to do is talk about first, do I think that that's something that could actually happen? And the answer to that is 100% yes. And that's not just fear-mongering. I'm not fear-mongering here. What I'm trying to do is trying to point out some facts that I've seen in my own experience living in the state of California for 42 years. You might remember, as just a quick example, that there was a mag ban, obviously, California banned magazines that could hold more than 10 rounds at one point, right? Everything that was owned prior to that was supposedly grandfathered in. They said that if you owned it before the new law took effect, you could keep it. Well, guess what happens later on down the road? Things change a little bit. California decided those grandfathered in mags are no longer legal anymore. You have to turn them in, destroy them, take them out of state, whatever. They went back on the grandfather clause, and other states have done the same thing. So we have proof that even though they say it's grandfathered in, that doesn't mean that they can't change that later. So is it possible? Absolutely. The chances of it happening anytime soon might be small, but you just never know with today's political climate. If something again happens, well, it's very likely that they could say, you know what, instead of having that grandfather clause, we just need them all gone. In which case, that's true. Your name would be on that list. Now, if you watch any of my previous videos, you'll see that I typically don't call it the grandfather clause. I call it the grandfather scheme, because what it does, it gets people a little bit more at ease, that they can keep what they have. Maybe they'll go along with things a little bit easier because they don't necessarily have to get rid of what they already own. It's just all the new stuff won't be coming into the state, and so it's a scheme. That's really all it is. There's nothing in there that's like a contract that says that they can't change that or come up with new legislation at any time period. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. So with that being said, let's talk about the next part. What should you do if that actually were to happen? Now, I obviously have to preface this with, I am not a lawyer. This should not be considered legal advice. If you need actual legal advice, please contact a competent attorney that knows about the Second Amendment. They will be able to give you actual legal advice. So what I am saying is just based on things that I have learned throughout the years. So the first thing is, once you've registered, you didn't register and give away your rights, okay? So you didn't sign away your rights when you decided to register. Those rights are still yours to this day. If you decided not to register, your rights still exist. You didn't forfeit your rights because you decided not to follow what the government was telling you to do, okay? All of your rights are still 100% intact either way you fell on that fence, okay? You still have a First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment right. You have a Fifth Amendment right. You have all of these rights that are still at your disposal. So one thing to keep in mind is, excuse me, let's say that law enforcement shows up at your door, right? And they say, hey, we need you to give up all of your firearms. We need you to give them up. Do you even have to open the door? No, unless they have a warrant, unless they have a document saying that they're allowed to come in and take them, right? A court order that they allow you to see. you don't even have to open your door. You can speak to them directly through the door. If they say, hey, we want to see everything you have a legal obligation to say, I'm not going to say anything to you. I don't have to say anything to you until I have contact with my lawyer. And then I'll have my lawyer do all of the talking for me, which is what I, as a non-lawyer, still recommend that you do. The only thing that you can do if you talk is get yourself in even more trouble. So unless they have a warrant, which would allow them into your house anyway, you make sure that you do not open that door for nothing. They don't need to see what's in your house, right? They don't need to try and get any probable cause because you have something sitting on your coffee table or there's some type of odor that's coming out of the house or whatever. You don't need to open it. You need to just tell them politely through the door. If you guys would like to come back, with the warrant, that's fine. However you need to do it, conduct your business, but I'm not saying a word until I get my attorney. Now, in the past, when I made videos like this, I've talked to people about not opening the door, and I've seen some pushback, people saying that they're not afraid to open up the door and just talk to the law enforcement right there. But I want you guys to look up the plain view doctrine, okay? That's a very important exemption to your Fourth Amendment rights that a lot of people don't know about. If something is in plain view and they think that something is going on there, that's enough to give them probable cause to search. Okay, so they don't actually need a warrant at that point if they use the plain view doctrine and gain probable cause through that. So allowing them to see inside your house, even if you think everything is spick and span, perfectly clean, there's nothing available for them to see, you just might be wrong, and why risk it, really, at that point? So again, the one thing that I want to point out here, and the one thing I really want to drive home, is that registered or not registered, you never gave up any of your constitutional rights. Now, we've all heard the old adage, registration leads to confiscation, and I believe that 100%, but I want to read you guys just this quick snippet. It's a quote from J.B. Pritzker in this article that really kind of drives home the fact that they know what kind of information they have. So he says here in a quote, "We want to make sure that you know where those very, very deadly weapons are, who owns them, where, and if a crime is committed with one of them." So obviously they could have just come out with a ban. They could have said that you're no longer going to be able to purchase these in the state of Illinois, and that's the end of that, right? But instead, he decided to add the registry on top of that, and that was, from his own words, to find out who, what, where, and when. That's what they want to know, and with all the information that they have, they can do that. And so, even though it's something that I don't think people should necessarily, be afraid of, like I said, I don't think it's anything that's going to happen anytime soon, because it would really show the true colors of a registry, and that might, set off some other states, or might, enhance some lawsuits that are trying to stop things like that. So I don't see it happening maybe anytime soon, but could it happen? Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't have that conversation at least, and people aren't talking about it, then I think some people might be surprised when it actually happens. I think that you and I, maybe the people that are watching this, we kind of know better when it comes to registries, but regardless, it's still a conversation that needs to be had, and that's why I'm making this video today. I want you guys to remember that one thing that I'm trying to drill home: you never signed away your rights. You still have every single one of them. I suggest that you use them. Thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. You guys have a great day.